The inside runner, Delma Peak, has been easy, and so too have most of them with this heavy support for Sturm Ruger. Now Delma Peak has galloped and the mobile was picking up speed. Opal Johnny's been disorganised. There's no hope of a start here. No hope at all of a start. It's a full start. We'll have second from the outside. Delma Peak 3 from the outside. Hawarani 3 from the rail. Brave Wind's now 2 from the rail. And the inside runner now is the favourite Sturm Ruger, so he's had a bit of luck. Getting set. Opal Johnny can't keep up at the moment, neither can Quartet, but they're a better line, probably as good as he'll ever get, and he's let them go, and Sturm Ruger won the start. Galloping Brave Win, Hawarani missed it, the others are weaving between it and around it, and getting up on the outside early, Delma Peak to join the leader. In behind them, the Bulldog, and over on the outside, Je Suis, and they were followed by Safari Maid. Brave Win settling into a pace, and then about 6 or 7 metres, Quartet. Opal Johnny is last of all. Off the back, they race onto the top circle, and the favourite Sturm Ruger shows the way. By 4 metres in front of, in second placing, Delma Peak taking the trail, and back third is Hawarani 4 metres off. The Bulldog is hampered for room on the inside of Je Suis, and 3 wide Safari Maid under the whip to improve, but can't do so just at the moment. Brave Win in the running line, third last, second last Quartet, and last of all 10 metres off is Opal Johnny. At the judge they go, and Sturm Ruger doing it well, and is about to complete the first lap by 4 metres. In second placing, Delma Peak inside Safari Maid, who's laboured to get up outside of those. Je Suis is one out, one back in the sweet seat, and down on the inside, Hawarani. The Bulldog going okay behind them. He's pulling, but there's nowhere for him to get out at the moment. Brave Win on his outside, and then back second last Quartet, and Opal Johnny's lost further ground. He's 15 metres away last. Along the back and the newcomer, Sturm Ruger, doing it well. About 3 metres to Delma Peak, and Safari Maid under pressure, 1.5 metres away on the outside without cover. Je Suis on its back gets the trail. Hawarani the rail, the Bulldog inside of Brave Win, and then last of all Quartet, and forget about Opal Johnny, he's 20 metres away. Off the back on the top circle, and the leader still is Sturm Ruger, and travels very well for Searby. 3 metres in front of Delma Peak second. Safari Maid's lost a couple of metres and is dropping back gradually in the running line. Je Suis might have to make a move around it shortly. Hawarani the inside from the Bulldog. Brave Win asked a question. Quartet moving up with it, and last of all is Opal Johnny at the judge, and Sturm Ruger, the favourite, still the one to beat. About 3 metres in front of Delma Peak, who's had a nice trail on its back throughout. Back behind them, Safari Maid on the outside of Hawarani, the leader now being revved up. Back behind them then came the Bulldog, who's got off the rail onto the back of Je Suis, and they were followed by Brave Win. Back on the inside, Quartet getting clear of Brave Win, who's giving ground now, and Opal Johnny tacks on. They run down the back inside the 600, and the leader still travelling as well as those behind it. In fact, he's got 4 or 5 metres on Delma Peak, shown the whip. The leader's getting away from them now. Hawarani third, running on out wide, Quartet, then Je Suis, Safari Maid, and followed then by the Bulldog, Brave Win, and Opal Johnny, but Sturm Ruger has a big break. Hawarani's gallop. That Sturm Ruger is out about 20 metres in front of our second placing Delma Peak. Quartet will get up and run second probably. A long way back, Je Suis, the Bulldog, is only battling, and they were followed by Hawarani at the head of the others. But Sturm Ruger well clear. Quartet's running on pretty solidly with Delma Peak. They're battling it out for the minors, but Sturm Ruger in front. He's about 8 metres in front of Quartet, getting to the line, and Sturm Ruger is going to win well. And Sturm Ruger is yet another in the last few days to win it. Its first start in the race, and scores by about 10 metres to Quartet. Delma Peak third. 15 to 20 away is Je Suis, and they were followed back behind those then by Opal Johnny, Hawarani, Safari Maid, and back behind those then came the Bulldog, and one of the last in with it was Brave Win. Came away a little bit scratchily. Every Hope was allowed to get away with balance and is now starting to muster some toe. The slowest of them to begin was Subunda Bay off the 10. It lost ground at the start, and best out was Baron Karamir, showing the way early from in second placing Miners Derby, who's racing one off the rail, racing a bit erratically though, and going up on the outside Lady Wingate. In behind those Family Fuss getting a one-up trail, and back along the inside Marmalade Girl from Every Hope. Yifta on the outside, and then a break of 20 metres away to Subunda Bay. They race down the back now, and the leader is Baron Karamir, who shows the way 3 metres over in second placing Miners Derby. In third placing Marmalade Girl, getting up on the rail and onto the leader's back. One out, one back behind those Lady Wingate. Every Hope goes for the rail, and they were followed then by Family Fuss, and then came Yifta 5 metres off, and joining the field tacking on at the tail is Subunda Bay. Off the back and onto the top circle they go, and the leader Baron Karamir, having a very easy run in front, shows the way 3 metres to in second placing Miners Derby. Over on the inside Marmalade Girl, and they were followed by Lady Wingate, who's sweet seating around Every Hope. Behind those Family Fuss, getting up on the back of Family Fuss is Yefta as they come for the bell, and Subunda Bay on the inside of Yefta at the tail. Baron Karamir still the leader as they race down with the judge with a lap to go. By 2 metres to in second placing Miners Derby, who's taking the leader on out of the straight. Behind the Marmalade Girl wanting a run off the rail. Around it is Lady Wingate under some pressure. Every Hope trying to get off the rail, having a bit of a bumping duel with Family Fuss, and then further back behind those Yifta, and down on the inside running, making some ground on the rail is Subunda Bay. Whips are cracking as they run down the back where Baron Karamir shown the stick is 2 metres in front of Miners Derby. Lady Wingate, Every Hope, the favourite, running on fairly. Behind the Marmalade Girl wanting a run. They were followed by Family Fuss, Subunda Bay, and Yifta was last of all. Every Hope's run a bit deep off the back at the 400, and the leader got away, Baron Karamir. There's almost a run for Marmalade Girl if she can take it from Miners Derby. Lady Wingate, Every Hope, is running on only fairly under the whip, and then Subunda Bay, but the leader, Baron Karamir, got away as they're about to straighten by 6 metres. Marmalade Girl to second, Every Hope struggling, and further back Subunda Bay, but Baron Karamir in front. Marmalade Girl and Every Hope are trying hard, but Frankie Evans and Baron Karamir are going true as a gun barrel to the wire. Marmalade Girl making a late bid for victory, but this is going to hang on. Baron Karamir and got home 2 metres to Marmalade Girl. Third home, Every Hope. Then came Subunda Bay, and they were followed back behind those by Yifta. Well back in the field, then Miners Derby, then came Family Fuss and Lady Wingate at the tail. For Lisa's Takeaway Restaurant, make only a fair line. The Mobile pulling away from them though, and it's a start, and one of the best away was going quickly, Karamar Nero. Dropping back in the field, the favourite Sparkling Santa, and so too is Sure Can Fly. But as they settle, Karamar Nero leads out by 3 metres to in second placing Frosty Aberdrock. Going up on the rail, third Oriana Court, and then one out, one back is Jayhawk. They were rather rust under. They were followed about 8 metres away then by Sure Can Fly around the outside of Sparkling Santa, keeping it deep, and back along the inside running now is Jayhawk, and back last of all is Nipper Goodwin as they shuffle for positions into the straight here, and Sure Can Fly is losing the battle for a position, still being trapped 3 deep by Sparkling Santa back centre field, but the leader is Karamar Nero running to the judge the first time, joined on the outside by little Frosty Aberdrock, and one out, one back behind them, Rust Under. Over on the inside running is Oriana Court, and they were followed then by Sparkling Santa in the running line. Back along the inside running then came Jayhawk. Over on the outside of Nipper Goodwin at the tail of the field is Sure Can Fly. They're in pairs now, 4 of them, as they run to the back, where the leaders are Frosty Aberdrock the outside and Karamar Nero the inside, 4 metres in front of Rust Under on the outside of Oriana Court. Behind those 4 metres away then came over on the outside Sparkling Santa, and up on the inside of it next is Jayhawk. Then Sure Can Fly, and last of all Nipper Goodwin off the back and onto the top circle again, and the leader still Karamar Nero by about 2 metres now to Frosty Aberdrock. In third placing Oriana Court, and one out, one back now is Rust Under. Then further back to Sure Can Fly, making a move 3 deep around them on the circle. In between horses next Sparkling Santa, and on the rail is Jayhawk, and last of all Nipper Goodwin, but they start to pack up. Racing down the straight here, and Sure Can Fly making his move well before the bell, where the leaders are Karamar Nero, and in the centre Frosty Aberdrock joined by Sure Can Fly. There's a trail up 3 deep, and he takes it on the favourite Sparkling Santa. Between horses Rust Under as they go out of the straight. Rust Under racing fiercely. Back behind them all, Karamar Nero's dropped the bit. Back behind horses, then Oriana Court getting off the rail. Then came Nipper Goodwin and Jayhawk as they run to the back. And here Karamar Nero's under extreme pressure and headed off by Frosty Aberdrock. Rust Under between them, and on the extreme outside Sure Can Fly, but it's flat out. And Sparkling Santa looks to be going all right behind them. He's making the move. He's off 4 deep now, Peace, and goes to them very quickly. Then further back Oriana Court, followed by Jayhawk and Nipper Goodwin, but the favourite went to the lead at the 400. And Sparkling Santa got 4 metres on Karamar Nero. Here's the threat, Oriana Court running on solidly. Karamar Nero's battling back again. He's getting his second win. Then Sure Can Fly, a beaten horse from front. Frosty Aberdrock and Rust Under into the clear. But Sparkling Santa is coming to the 200 at the top of the straight by 5 or 6 metres. Caramar Nero, Oriana Court's run seems to have ended. Down the outside, Rust Under, but Sparkling Santa in front halfway down the running, and the favourite making a good thing of it, comes away to score very easily and goes on to win by about 10 metres. Interest in the minors. Caramar Nero out-battled the others. Oriana Court third and Rust Under fourth. 20 metres away, Sure Can Fly, Frosty Aberdrock, Jayhawk and Nipper Goodwin. Coming up well. Inside runner Jen Singh, and they're just about set. They're off and racing. Jen Singh has begun best of all near the inside. Hilltop Lad a bit sluggishly away, now starting to pace better, and Manwarra Brett has begun quickly out wide. Oh, there's a bumping duel behind them. Bold Reason tangled up there with Charles Wealth, and copping the backwash was Port. Getting into bother behind them, Poor Tack, as they go out of the straight. Manwarra Brett crossed the field and took over from Jensing. Wispy Madam's begun well today, the favourite. She's up there third early. Back fourth behind those, then Madonna Bay, and then about 8 metres away, Hilltop Lad around the outside. On the inside, Fair Fighter, 6 metres further back then to Charles Wealth. Over on the extreme outside is Hanover Retort, and they were followed by Schiltz. Then Bold Reason, who's last, bar one after getting into trouble after the start. Poor Tack tails out. Along the back they travel, and the leader bowling along to the top circle the first time, Manwarra Brett by a metre, and the favourite Wispy Madam comes out after him now and ranges up on the outside. In third placing, Jensing on the leader's back. Madonna Bay has won one. Hilltop Lad 3 back in the running line on the outside. Over on the inside of Hilltop Lad as they come into the straight again to complete the first circuit is Fair Fighter. Then Charles Wealth on the inside. On the outside of him is Hanover Retort going a little bit deep. Then Schultz from Bold Reason, and tacking onto the field after early trouble, Poor Tack. At the judge, a circuit to go, and Manwarra Brett shows the way. It's clear by 2 to 3 metres over Wispy Madam, looking a big threat despite the fact that she's sitting up there outside the leader. Jensing third is going all right but wanting a run. Madonna Bay sweet seating. Fair Fighter on the inside of Hilltop Lad. The others are labouring. They're headed by Bold Reason on the inside of Charles Wealth. Dropping the bit and dropping out is Hanover Retort. And further back, Poor Tack, and Schultz is last. But down the back, Manwarra Brett by 2 metres. Wispy Madam applies full pressure. Going up 3 deep, Madonna Bay from Jensing, who's camped behind those. Charles Wealth out very deep from further back. Fair Fighter, Hilltop Lad, Bold Reason heads the others. And further back to Poor Tack off the back, and Wispy Madam on terms with Manwarra Brett. In behind them, Jensing wanting a run. Madonna Bay's got it pocketed, and they were clear of Charles Wealth. No other hopes. Into the straight, 200 to go. Wispy Madam was flat out on the outside. So is Manwarra Brett the inside, but Wispy Madam got a head clear. Jensing's into the clear and coming home solidly. Wispy Madam and Manwarra Brett, and Jensing the favourite. Wispy Madam though in front, and Wispy Madam is going to crack it today. She got tired, but she held on and won it about a long head to Manwarra Brett third, Jensing. Back behind those, Fair Fighter ran on. Then Madonna Bay, Charles Wealth, and a long gap, Bold Reason, Hilltop Lad. Further back behind those were Schultz. Third last was Hanover Report, and last of all, Poor Tack, who had no luck after the start. Fair start. Michael Popeye, away a bit scratchy, is now starting to go very quickly, and so is Warm and Quick Henny. Michael Popeye still going roughly now. And as they settled down, Relied came up well, but Warm and Kenny cleared them and got across to lead and goes to the front out of the straight, 4 metres Relied. Back behind those then came Romeo Adios, Tiki Tyler achieving 3 wide, and 4 wide around them goes Skipper Expo. Back in between runners looking for a way through, Reluctant Lad off the pole beginning fairly. They were followed further back in the field behind those by Go Ginger, and back behind them after a sluggish start, Michael Popeye, Westbrook, Hanover, and last of all is Whiskey Hill. Down the back they travel, and the leader is Warm and Kenny showing the way 3 metres in advance now. Relied second, achieving on the outside of Tiki Tyler. Back behind those on the inside running is Romeo Adios, and up in the centre is Reluctant Lad getting a run between horses. This keeps another one deep around them. Go Ginger there, 12 metres in front now. Michael Popeye, who's starting to bridge the gap but is flat out to do it. In behind them, Westbrook Hanover, followed back behind those by Skipper Expo, and Whiskey Hill tacks up. Racing down for the bell, and Reliard serving it up to Warm and Kenny, and they show out by 3 metres, achieving third. Tiki Tyler, the rail, Reluctant Lad inside, Go Ginger. Romeo Edios getting shunted back around them. Whiskey Hill 3 deep. Back in between horses, Michael Popeye, and they were followed then by Westbrook Hanover and Skipper Expert at the tail. Warm and Kenny again 3 metres Relied. Whiskey Hill asked to gain ground around them. 3 deep is running on now, but it's still Warm and Kenny at the 600, 2 metres Relied. Achieving about to be joined by Whiskey Hill, who's under pressure but running on. Tiki Tyler giving up the Ghost, and then Reluctant Lad, Go Ginger heads the others from Michael Popeye. Racing along the back, and Bruce Clark sitting confidently on Relied, looks across and sees Whiskey Hill coming, so he's into Relied, but Warm and Kenny still defies them. By 3 metres Relied achieving third, and Whiskey Hill is flat out, still running on. She's getting plenty out of it, and a gap in the field to the others headed by Tiki Tyler and Go Ginger. Warm and Kenny sitting up nicely in front, though 200 out as they straighten by 4 metres. It's got the measure of them, I think, down the outside. Whiskey Hill trying hard. Whiskey Hill is grinding home. Warm and Kenny still in front. Whiskey Hill getting to it inch by inch, but Warm and Kenny is going to see it out, I think. It's hanging on, and another of the Golden Kenny stock gets home. Warm and Kenny 4 metres. Whiskey Hill back third on the inside, achieving, and between them Relied. They were followed further back by Reluctant Lad, Go Ginger, then Romeo Hanover. Westbrook Hanover was well back in the field, and then came Michael Popeye, Tiki Tyler and Skipper Expo, always near the tail. Inside, Eden's Return stepped away. Travis John has missed it, getting away roughly. Derek first, he began too quick for himself, and he's galloping badly. He nearly threw himself down on the track, and Fashion Some will lead at the judge the first time. Eden's Return restrained on the outside, Dusty Prince to get a 1-1 trail. Back behind those as they head out of the straight, Peter Carrot, Travis John getting going from Doxer Joe, and Field Orphan fourth last. Derek first bungled his chance at the start. He's third last on the inside of Kimusabi, and last of all is Doctor's Boy. They're running along down the back now, and Murray Pay takes Eden's Return to a big lead. He's 15 to 18 metres clear of Fashion Sun. Back third, 4 metres away, Dusty Prince. Peter Carra leads the outside brigade. Travis John gets a nice trail, 1-1. Doxer Joe 3 back into the running line. Derek first inside of Field Orphan from Kimusabi, and 8 metres away, Doctor's Boy off the back mark. Off the back onto the top circle they go, and Eden's Return has crept further ahead. He's a cricket pitch in front of Fashion Sun, Peter Carra. Dusty Prince the inside. Travis John is 1-1. Then Derek first getting ground on the rail from Doxer Joe, and Field Orphans off 3 deep. Then Kimusabi and Doctor's Boy is last. They race to the judge now, and the leader's driver takes hold, and he steadies now on this leader, Eden's Return. The others are starting to stack up behind him. Field Orphan 3 wide around Peter Carra, the centre. Fashion Sun, the rail on the leader's back. Then further back behind those, Dusty Prince on the inside of Travis John, who's enjoyed a good trail. Doxer Joe outside of Derek first from Kimusabi and Doctor's Boy. Running to the back section again, and still Eden's Return defies them. 5 metres, Fashion Sun. Field Orphan has taken a long time to get around and sit to the leader, but he's doing so now. Peter Carra gets the 1-1 in the sweet seat on his back at his expense, and then Dusty Prince on the inside of Travis John, now 3 back. 4 back in the running line, Doxer Joe, followed on the inside, running next by Derek first, Kimusabi, and last of all is Doctor's Boy, who should have something left as they work on the top circle again in the 1980 Hamilton Pacing Cup. The leader is still Eden's Return, and the boulder shows the way. 4 metres, Fashion Sun. Field Orphan is going to sit there and nag away at him. In behind those, Peter Carra working for the bell from Derek first. Doxer Joe about to come, and so is Kimusabi, and Doctor's Boy getting a card up as they work to the judge. 1 circuit out. Eden's Return has had everything his own way in front and leads by 2 metres. Field Orphan. Fashion Sun inside Peter Carra. Travis John into the clear. Doxer Joe, Kimusabi and Doctor's Boy angle out wide for trails home. Up along the inside of horses there is Dusty Prince with Derek first held up for a run, but into the back, and Murray Pay sitting up on Eden's Return. 2 metres to Field Orphan. Murray looks across. Travis John's the first threat to them. In behind them, Doxer Joe's running on. Doctor's Boy can't get into the act at the moment, and as they run to the back, Field Orphan gets on terms with Eden's Return. Travis John 4 wide around them. Doxer Joe 5 deep. Kimusabi, by gee, you could toss a hanky over them. Doctor's Boy 6 deep on the top circle. Eden's Return the first one, headed by Field Orphan. On the outside, Travis John's running a bold race, and so is Doxer Joe. In behind them, Kimusabi, and they fan for home, where the leader, Field Orphan, joined by Travis John on the outside, and down the outside, Doxer Joe. Field Orphan hanging on, Travis John getting to him, but Field Orphan just Just in front, Travis John can't quite get to him, and Murray Flicksfield off and home. And the sub goes on to score a metre to Travis John. Third, Doxer Joe, and a stack of them there around them, including Eden's Return, who didn't give it away altogether. Fashion Son, Derek First, and Peter Carra. Further back then, Doctor's Boy, Kimu Sabi, and Dusty Prince was last of all. And she began nicely. She's vying for the early lead with Brooklyn Guy. Slow to begin, Grove Gift, and having to ease around it early with Shell Averill making ground. Elder Pete, the mare, leads out of the straight by 4 metres to in second placing Sandy Paul. Carnlaw can't get in. Over on the inside, Brooklyn Guy, and they were followed back behind them by Jefferson Court. And as they work to the back with those two, heading up between horses now as Carnlaw works towards the leaders, is Rock Hopper. Further back, Fiery Flicker, Shell Averill, Highland Gift ahead of that pair, and Grove Gift after that slow start is last. Running down the back, and Sandy Paul keeps Carnlaw still 3 wide, but he's able to grab hold now and ease in for a trail. In fact, he's nearly got 1-1, and he has now on Carnlaw, but the leader is Elder Pete. 3 metres over Sandy Paul. Carnlaw's used a bit of fuel early, though, but is 1-1. On its inside, Brooklyn Guy. 6 metres away behind those then came Rock Hopper. Over on the inside, Highland Gift, and they were followed then by on the outside Jefferson Court. Getting onto its back as Fiery Flicker. Shell Averill had to ease behind those, and Grove Gift going up on the rail to close a gap. Racing down the straight again, and the leader still is Elder Pete by 2 metres, now almost joined by Sandy Paul. Carnlaw 1-1 over on the inside, Brooklyn Guy. They were followed by Highland Gift on the inside as they come to the judge. Over on the outside next, moving up 3 back in the running line is Rock Hopper. 4 back in the running line, Jefferson Court. On the inside, Grove Gift after that slow start. Fiery Flicker second last, and Shell Averill last. Racing to the back, a lap and 3/4 to go, and Elder Pete, the mare, has been on top from the outset. By 2 metres again to Sandy Paul, Brooklyn Guy, and Carnlaw 1-1. Over on the inside, Highland Gift. Around Highland Gift's wheel is Rock Hopper. Grove Gift on the back of Highland Gift, and they were followed into the running line by Jefferson Court, Fiery Flicker, and Shell Averill, and the last 3 are racing 1 away from the rail in Indian File. Racing to the top circle, a lap and a half or thereabouts to go, and Elder Pete, the mare, still 2 metres clear of Sandy Paul. In third placing, Brooklyn Guy, and 1-1 Carnlaw, who's reefing. Over on the inside is Highland Gift, and then Rock Hopper. Over on the outside behind Rock Hopper, about to make a run, is Jefferson Court as they come for the bell. Back on the inside, Grove Gift. Fiery Flicker's about to ease up 3 deep, and so will Shell Averill. Racing down to the judge now. And here the leader on the inside, Elder Pete from Sandy Paul, who's shifted a bit of ground in the straight. Carnlaw 1-1, Brooklyn Guy the inside, Sandy Paul hanging. Back behind those, Jefferson Court might get Carnlaw to go. Highland Gift the inside, Rock Hopper between them. Then Grove Gift, Fiery Flicker, and Shell Averill as they work to the back for the final occasion. Elder Pete doing it nicely, 2 metres, Sandy Paul, Carnlaw, Brooklyn Guy. Then Highland Gift to break at 3 or 4 metres, Rock Hopper. Jefferson Court not doing enough from Grove Gift, Fiery Flicker, and Shell Averill are held up. It looks between the leading quartet. Down the back, Sandy Paul on the outside, and Elder Pete the inside, who's doing it all right from Carnlaw, Brooklyn Guy, and 20 metres the others headed by Fiery Flicker. Off the back inside the 400, Carnlaw leaves the sweet seat and makes a line of 3, but it's Elder Pete, a nose in front of Sandy Paul. Carnlaw's under pressure. Behind them, Brooklyn Guy, and they're well clear of Fiery Flicker running on. Sandy Paul got the head-on terms with the other one, Elder Pete, and Carnlaw's 3 deep and struggling. Sandy Paul shifting a bit of ground. Carnlaw and Elder Pete, and Brooklyn Guy getting a split. Carnlaw, Sandy Paul, Brooklyn Guy coming home like a train. Oh, Sandy Paul's carted Carnlaw right out wide. Brooklyn Guy took the opening, and Brooklyn Guy went on to score. Sandy Paul second, Carnlaw third. We might hear more, though. Elder Pete fourth, followed by Fiery Flicker. Back behind them, Shell Averill, and they were followed by Rock Hopper. Jefferson Court, Highland Gift, and Grove Gift was last. Caught them pretty well. A little bit slow to begin, Kaluna. Berber's galloped shortly afterwards. She's dropping right back through the tail. Well, there's the first shock of the race. And Berber is now last of all, and galloping back with it was Tarport Tats, and they face a very big task. The early leaders are Narrabri on the inside and Paulusville on the outside, and they clear out. 8 metres to in third placing Jason John. Glendoby 1 out, 1 back, and then Lewis Mack inside. Of on the outside, Rowena Scott. 10 metres away, Kaluna, who began only fairly. Yosemite Lodge making ground from Excursion. And 35 metres away, Berber giving chase on the outside of Tarport Tats. At the judge the first time. And here Paulusville is taking the leader, Narrabri on. Gets about 2 metres in front, but can't clear it at the moment. Narrabri working Paulusville as they go to the back. They're using plenty of fuel, the pair of them. They're out 8 metres in front of Glen Dobie and Jason John getting the run of the race behind them. He grabs hold of Paulusville now, but they both use fuel and the other one goes to the clear lead again, Narrabri. About 8 metres away behind the first four is Lewis Mack, 6 metres off Rowena Scott. They broke up with that sprint on up front. 6 or 7 metres away behind them, Kaluna working up around Yosemite Lodge. 8 metres away then came Excursion, and I think the other two are just about out of business, Berber and Tarport Tats. They race on the top circle again, and Paulusville once more gets up almost on terms with Narrabri, who hasn't had much peace in the lead. Behind them, Jason John on the inside of Glen Dobie 1-1. Kaluna's working up attractively, 3 back in the running line around Lewis Mack. Yosemite Lodge is back behind the other one, Rowena Scott, the rail. And on the back of Kaluna now coming for the Bella's Excursion, 25 metres away to Berber and 10 more to Tarport Tats. 1 lap to go and Narrabri's had no rest in front. Shows the way 2 metres to Paulusville, working home again. Jason John wanting a run. Glen Dobie's had a charm run, 1 out, 1 back. Kaluna had to come when Excursion moved up around them. Lewis Mack, the rail, Yosemite Lodge, nowhere to go, and between horses as they go to the back is Rowena Scott. Narrabri at the 600, 2 metres, and struggling a little now from on the outside, Paulusville, and Glen Dobie's asked the question. Jason John can't get out. Kaluna running on solidly. Then Lewis Mack, Yosemite Lodge getting a late run from further back. Rowena Scott, Excursion and Berber. Whips are cracking at the 400 though, and Narrabri joined again by Paulusville, Glen Dobie. Jason John's the one going very well but can't get a run. Kaluna running on from Yosemite Lodge, getting into it, and then Lewis Mack as they stack up behind the leader. Narrabri about to turn for home. Paulusville, Jason John can't get out, and Kaluna out wide is running on. Yosemite Lodge will have to come about 5 deep. It's now Kaluna and Paulusville out after Narrabri. Narrabri joined by Kaluna, who's coming home the belly. Yosemite Lodge flying down the outside, but Kaluna and Clinton Welsh getting plenty out of it, and Kaluna is going to win the Spring Championship. Kaluna goes on to score about 2 to 3 metres. Narrabri, Yosemite Lodge flew home for third. Jason John, then Lewis Mack, Paulusville, followed then by Rowena Scott, Berber and Tarport Tats, and Glen Dobie and Excursion about 3rd or 4th last. Off and running, and the Sunset on the inside came out with them. So did Akaloo Prince. James Cotton trying to restrain behind. Clover Kid between horses. Sunset's galloped. Oh, Lewis, rather everything nice behind it. Had to grab hold, and he's virtually been put out of it. As they settle down, Sunset refusing to pace. Now he's starting to hit them, but the favourite's back second last, and one wouldn't think he could win from there. Here's a go for the early lead again now. James Cotton serving it up to Clover Kid. Elton Dale's getting a nice trail behind them. Further back then, behind that brigade, came Akaloo Prince, and they were followed by Clover Kid being patiently driven, and then back behind those Capri Kid. 20 metres away, everything nice. He was stopped dead in his tracks when Sunset went for a gallop after the start, and Sunset is last. James Cotton pulled his way to the front. He's pulled pretty hard that first half lap or so, and shows the way 3 metres to in second place in Clover Kid with a trail. Elton Dale should have something left at the finishing end of business because he's bowling along third. 8 or 10 metres Akaloo Prince, and they were followed then by back behind them Fiery Rocket. Next over on the extreme outside is Capri Kid, popped a question from Everything Nice, and 8 metres Sunset. Racing down the back, James Cotton, 3 metres Clover Kid, who's travelling well second. 4 metres Elton Dale, and then a dozen metres Akaloo Prince, Fiery Rocket and Capri Kid improving. Then Everything Nice, and last of all Sunset. Off the back and the leader, James Cotton, 3 metres in front. Clover Kid in second placing, 4 metres away third Elton Dale, still about 8 or 10 metres away Akaloo Prince on the rail. Capri Kid getting around its outside, followed by Fiery Rocket, and 4 or 5 metres away behind those Everything Nice, and last of all, as they come for the straight, it's time as Sunset. Racing down to the bell, James Cotton isn't pulling now. He's 3 metres in front of Clover Kid. In third placing Elton Dale, followed by Akaloo Prince. Capri Kid out wide but struggling. On the inside, Fiery Rocket at the judge, a lap out. Sunset, and then came Everything Nice. James Cotton on a loose rein as they run out of the straight to the back. 3 metres Clover Kid, 3 metres then Elton Dale, and 3 metres Akaloo Prince. Capri Kid struggling, followed by Fiery Rocket, Everything Nice and Sunset. But to the 600, and James Cotton on a loose rein, still 3 metres in front of Clover Kid, Elton Dale, Akaloo Prince and Fiery Rocket. Sunset's making a run down the back. The favourite still some hope as they work along the back, and Everything Nice is last, but James Cotton, 3 metres Clover Kid, Elton Eltondale, followed by Ackaloo Prince, Fiery Rocket, Sunset doing it hard, then Capri Kid and Everything Nice, but Clover Kid races up on the outside to head James Cotton, Eltondale, Fiery Rocket's running on, and further back behind them Sunset Ackaloo Prince, but Clover Kid gave them the go-by at the top of the straight and raced away clear. In second place in getting a rails run now is Ackaloo Prince, James Cotton, Eltondale, but Clover Kid clear halfway down the straight. He's getting a bit leg weary. Ackaloo Prince is coming home like a trail on the rail. Clover Kid joined by Ackaloo Prince. Oh, they're too wide apart, very wide apart. If anything, Ackaloo Prince on the inside from Clover Kid.